Hello, Adib.
Yeah, hi Devish.
Yeah. So, yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, good. Is my voice audible though? Hello?
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, audible. But is my voice audible to you guys?
Yeah, your voice is audible.
Okay, cool, cool.
Yeah, we were setting up the stream, that's why there were some problems.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Swastik's here.
Yeah, Swastik is here. Hi, Swastik.
Hey everyone. If I just wanted to
Hi.
learn something, so just joined your session.
Yeah. Adib, do you have any presentation?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Yeah, can you share it one so that we can set it up with the OBS?
Sure, it's Figma presentation. I'll just share the prototype with you.
Yeah, sure.
I've sent a link. Just check if that link's functioning properly.
Adib, can you present it?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, okay. Hello, Adib. I guess we are good to start now. Everything is set up.
All right,
Yes.
all right.
Yeah. So I will do a quick introduction. One second. Let the slide change. Yeah. So everyone who have joined 5 years of experience in Novigo Solutions, and he is a senior graphic designer. So today he is going to talk about how user experience, that is UX, matters in engineering. Like how you can what is UX and what and all you can do with UX and engineering. So basically the title is Engineering and UX Synergy. So yeah, over to you, Adib.
Yeah, thanks, Devesh. Hi, everyone. I will be talking about engineering and UX synergy. My name is Adib. I'm working currently at Novigo Solutions as a senior UX designer, and I wanted to talk to you regarding UX and the role of engineering in UX because a lot of people think I want to do UX. Why am I learning engineering? So I wanted to bust some myths on that. So I'm going to start. I've categorized the whole presentation on just four. All right, it's about me so that you have an understanding of what I or who I am. And the other thing is what you want to hear, like what you would expect from a presentation that's titled in this way, and what you need to hear. One second. Is the video feed on, Divish? Yeah, good. So I'm basically going to talk about what you want to hear. Like it is expected. Like when someone reads the title, oh, engineering and UX synergy, you think like, oh, how is engineering going to help? Like, I'm going to explain that. I'm also going to explain how UX is used in different companies, service-based companies as well as product-based companies, and what you need to hear. What you need to hear will be the major topic of this presentation because I don't think a lot of people have talked about this. I've been to multiple presentations, I've been to multiple talks, and I have not come across any speaker who has spoken about this topic. And I think this is really important for everyone who's going into the field of UX to know and understand. And I'm going to just conclude the whole talk. It's going to be a really short talk, possibly like 45 minutes, and then I'm just going to take questions. Hopefully, it goes for 1 hour. All right, so I'm going to start with about me. So about me is that my name is Adib. As I said, I have been doing design, not professionally, just like design in general for the past 10 years. I was a art major. Like I used to love this, like design and art. I love the whole creation of creating something from nothing. I'm just like a typical kid who made his hobby his work profession. All right. So, in order to understand about how I got into UX, I have to go way back to my PU days, where I wanted to be an architect. All right. The thing was, I like the idea of creating things such that the user finds it easy to use. You know, like a table. If it's too short, no one's going to use it. If it's too tall, the people only who are tall can use it. But if it's too tall, the chairs have to be tall and the person will have problems sitting. So I used to think in that sense. I used to have like a user-centric goal, or that my user, the person who I'll be providing the value to, is pleased by the product. All right. So first starts my architecture plan. I gave my NATA exams and I scored 95% in it. And I got a really good scholarship in RV College, Bangalore, but I still did engineering, and this is why. Architecture was a 5 year course, and I did not have the liberty to go and do 5 years of education and be able to support myself and my family. So I had to choose a field that was good, where I understood what was happening, and I also was able to like enjoy it. You know, I was really good at computers. That's where the love for computers comes. As a kid, I've been given gadgets. I had the advantage of having really cool gadgets in a very early age. I was blessed with a father who was into gadgets as well. So I used to have PlayStations and Xboxes. I used to like open them up. I used to understand how they work and then like repair them back. 80% of the time they didn't work, so I had to purchase them again. All right. Coding also comes under that because the whole idea of creating from nothing applies for coding as well. The first time I learned to code was in 10th because our school taught us normal HTML and CSS in the 10th grade. And in first PU, second PU, we just had CSS and C programming. That was a big step forward for me because I understood that there's logic used rather than just HTML and CSS. There's logic used in coding, all right? And that you can create something, you can think of the solution, but you need to understand mathematical terms, algorithms in order to create the solutions, all right? And then happened engineering. Engineering happened, I did not like it in the beginning. I used to think I wanted to do design, all right? The only other way that I knew I could do design was civil engineering by drawing layouts of buildings. It's almost as similar to architecture, like in not a theoretical sense, just like my logic, which was letting me know that, all right, like, okay, if you want to build houses, civil also comes under that, but civil didn't have interior architecture. And I don't want to say luckily, but COVID happened, all right? And I had ample of time to do whatever I wanted. I was not going to study. All the exams I just copied in the online exams as everyone did. I'm not ashamed to admit that. But I also spent, I guess, most of my time in designing. I am an illustrator as well. I did graphic designing professionally for the past 4 years. I used to do posters and then illustrations for magazines in Japan and Australia. I still do freelance projects for a disco company. Not disco company, it's just a festival that happens in UK. Right? So I have good connections with them. And in that process, what happened was SOSC approached to me and they said, do you want to, join as a designer in SOSC? And to me, that was like, oh, okay, someone actually cares about my hobby. And that was really refreshing to know that there are people that care for it and they require it, all right? Before all this happened, during my architecture times, my architecture lecturer told me that you should try into human-computer interactions, because I told him like there's an issue happening in the family and all that. And he said, HCI is a really good field for you, but HCI was not available in India at the time. I would have to do not further studies, but just like do my graduate in abroad. I did not want to do that because that didn't make sense to me at the time. And I did engineering, all right? Coming to the SOSC part, that happened post-COVID. So in COVID, I had, I guess, a year and a half to just like design. I had this massive portfolio of just illustrations, which consist of like grunge art, like very minimalistic art, pixel art. So I had a background with all of the design styles and UX. Because my architecture lecturer was like HCI, I looked into it. I used to design wireframes and just like websites in Illustrator before, which was so hard to do and so stupid. But I still did it. I didn't know the fundamentals of it, but I knew exactly what a website should look like in order for a person to use it. I think like, oh, wait, I'm going to scroll over here. And the next step is supposed to be this. So it's better to have the button either below or next to it. I used to think logically in that basis. I did not know the concept of UX until then. None of it. I joined SOSC, and that's when I got to know that there's a field of UI UX that emphasizes design and logic, all right? And what happened was, as I was in SOSC, I also had two groups of friends who were ambitious and they wanted to start a product, all right? It's called Low and Women. I hope that it's still up because I've left the company. But yeah, so if you ever get time, just check out the company. They're really good people. They have a really good idea for it. The whole idea was to build a product for dysmenorrhea. So period cramps. They wanted a belt. It was design based but product based. So I had in hand experience with building a product in CAD software. So basically every software system, like every software application, I've used it. And I've come down to the conclusion that if you know UX, you can basically build anything out of nothing. Like you can learn the software and use UX principles, and you can still be a really good designer, a product designer, product manager. You can do it all, honestly. In that period of SOSC and me working alongside with the low-end women, what happened was I used to hang out a lot with the SOC members. I'm guessing you SOC members also do that, right? So we used to hang out, and it's not like Swastik was the main character, but he was the main character, if you know what I'm trying to say. Because Swastik was one of those persons who was full of life. He still is full of life, but he never said, hey, no, bro, that plan won't work. He used to be like, yeah, dude. He has this energy of him that he oozes on to you, is like, I have a plan. It's going to work. I need someone to like back me up. Just talk to Swastik. He'll be like, yeah, dude, it's going to work. Like, just do it. Just focus on it. So I never spoke to Swastik about the UX plans, but I had enough friends come and tell me that Swastik was the reason they started programming. Swastik pushed them into programming, and now like they started programming. They're like glad they did start programming, because up until like previously they didn't start coding. Okay, and Swastik was the one who told everyone that you start coding, dude. It's fun. Like this. His enthusiasm for coding caused other people to code, right? And then there was one. I'm pretty sure Swastik doesn't remember this. I went to him once. And I told him, like, dude, like, this is my plan. Like, I want to join Adobe. And I think at the time, he wasn't in Google yet. I'm not sure. I don't think it was in Google. But he said this. It really stuck to me, what he said. He was like, bro, if you have a plan, forget about it. Just do the work, do the groundwork. And somehow in some weird scenario, you're going to get the opportunity. No matter what. And when I got the job, the first person that came into my mind was, Swastik. I'd never said that to him like privately, but I'm hoping he's in the meeting. So Swastik, thank you for that. It really helped me to keep going, honestly. So after Swastik, when I spoke to him, he told me to stick to design, right? He didn't tell me to stick to design. He told me to stick to the whatever you're doing. Just lay the groundwork. Just do the homework and just stick to it. When it was happening, I have a friend named Rahul, all right? And Rahul was the one who helped me understand how coding works generally. So I went to him and I said, like, hey, man, this UX designing is not working for me. Like, it's working, but like, I want to do full stack. So I want to learn the front-end UI part of the coding so that I would be able to, have a leverage over other designers. Okay, so have a leverage over other designers so that they can hire me, all right? And there was like a 2-month period where I learned coding. And I'm happy to say that I know JavaScript, React JS, and Node. Yeah, I'm really like not proficient, but like I can understand the code, all right? I'm really thankful for Rahul for that, because that is what landed me a job in UI UX in Novigo Solutions, all right? So what the whole thing I'm trying to say is that I did not get lucky, all right? Like, things will happen in your time frame of you deciding what you want to do to you actually getting the job, and you may never get lucky, all right? There's a huge difference with people who just got handed the job and people who worked for it. I've seen Swastik work his ass off, all right? I'm sorry for swearing. But he has been coding since PU, if I'm not wrong. And him just sticking to it and not really like listening to others was one of the driving factors why I stuck to design. Because to be honest, I would have left design. I would have just ended up doing a normal coding job. So yeah, that. So I just want to say that stick to your goals. No matter how hard it gets, like people say that if you do your best, that's more than enough. There's also another saying that if you really do your best, you'd never lose. And I did that, and I'm a living example to that statement. So I started as a freelance artist, and then I did my hybrid at Tech Labs. So hybrid in the sense like it was a job. I was getting paid really well for my designs, as well as I was working at Low and Women. So I was a product designer there, as well as I was an employee in tech labs. This is while I was in college, all right. And then after my engineering ended, I was still at tech labs. Recently, the company shut down, and now I'm a senior UX designer at Novigo Solutions. It is a beautiful family. They value everyone there, honestly. So if you're planning to like join a company in Mangalore itself, and you feel like you still require that college feel of like friends and like more than like friends more than colleagues, then Novigo is a really good place. But you do need experience, so do your groundwork. Even if you don't have experience, just apply for the interview and see where it gets you. All right. Now, what you want to hear? I know the topic of UX has a lot of subcategories that you want to get answers to, like how do I make responsive design? Are there any books I can refer for UX? How much does UX pay? How to be good at design? How to auto layout? How to add flow? Like, and when I'm stuck with a design, like that's called designer's block or writer's block. And how do I get myself out of that? And do I need to code in UX designing? All these questions are so what do you say, vast, and like everybody has them, such that there are answers available on YouTube. So I do not want to waste your time giving answers that you can find on YouTube while just making it 2x speed and watching it and like consuming content. I wouldn't want to do that. That's not the point of this talk. All right. If you do want to get answers to these questions, these are some really good content creators. All right. Rad Nolan, he's really good at auto layouts and understanding UX. He's a product designer since 9 years, I believe. Chan Buns, she's a product designer as well, and she was the first YouTuber who I referred to while starting my UX journey. Miggy from Figgy, he is an employee in Figma. You can check him out. Ansh Mehra is an Indian product designer. He's really good at what he does. He's a really good, speaker. So if you ever want to understand Indian job market for UX, Ansh Mehra is a really good person. Xander Whitehurst, I think you have heard about him. That's super fast. All right. So if you want like quick tips and quick ideas on how UX and UI works together, Xander Whitehurst is really good. Rob Uruk, he's really good with freelance work. So what happens is like in freelance, you don't have idea how to negotiate. All right. Because there's a chances that you're an introvert. There's nothing bad with that. All right. And if you don't know how to communicate with people, you can write emails, and he gives really good structure for emails, such that you can demand for more for your product. You can demand for your skills without sounding like a brat. Right. Ali Abdal for productivity, he's a really good person. So time management, all those things. If you want to refer to someone, it's Ali Abdal. And the little question mark over there, it's you. You yourself can teach yourself, design, because the amount of softwares you use, the amount of application that you download, you will have an eye for detail. If you're interested in design, you'll be like, oh, why is the spacing that much? Like, why is it over here? So a common understanding of how a software works, like there's a user interface term, you will have an understanding on your own. All right. And plus you can do your groundwork. As I said, you just Google them, like go in, just create a new Instagram account, just follow all UX people, and you will be given other UX influencers on your explore page, right? I feel like that is really good method to practice UX, because there's a lot of information, right? And you can't keep searching for it. So just create an account and Instagram will curate it for you. Now, what you need to hear is this. What is UX and is UI going to help you with it? So honestly, in terms of the job, what you're going to get in UX, you definitely need UI. What happens is whenever HR or employer asks you, explain me UX, this is like the best example I've had, and this has landed me 2 jobs. What you say is, sir, like obviously you'll be sitting in a chair. Just be like, sir, this chair you're sitting in, okay? Make sure it's a really good chair, or if it's like a really bad chair, just know your what's happening. And be like, sir, the chair, what you're sitting in right now, performs the UX part. So it's comfortable to sit in, all right? it has a lumbar support. Like I feel comfortable sitting in. There's height adjustment and all those things. So UX is covered. What about the UI? Does it look pretty? It does, and that's why you chose it. Imagine a chair is there, the typical WWE chair, which everybody loves. So that chair is not that pretty. All right, you could sit on it. It's not pretty, but you wouldn't like to have that in your office, would you? You have everything really well designed, and you wouldn't really want to. You wouldn't really want to sit on that, all right? But if it's an office chair that looks good, it provides all the functionality. So UX and UI, they come together to form a really good product, all right? You should be able to combine UI and UX in such a way that it's so subtle that people forget, like, oh yeah, this is like really good chair, like this, that. No, they just sit and they be like, ah, yeah, it performed the function what I wanted. Your designs and your products, what you are going to design, should be made in such a way that the person looking at it is not like, oh, the designer chose this for this reason. He should be like, this is perfect. Like, I don't know what he did, but this is perfect. Like, I want to use this. So now, in UX field, you will always have the option, not option, it's a task. They'll give you a prompt, all right? They'll give you a problem stating that I want this function. I also want this feature. They do not go hand in hand, but I want them in a single page, all right? So they'll ask you to form a solution to the problem, which is a hard task. Like 80% of your work in UX is problem solving. They'll give you various tasks, and you'll have to know exactly like how am I supposed to solve this. Like the people who come to you, like, so in a service-based company, what happens is the people who come to you do not have an idea of how coding works, how design works, all right? The clients, they will have their requirements. All of them will be like, I want this, I want that. Like, I like Airbnb UI. I want something similar, but in dark mode. In your head, you're like, this is not possible. Like, this is generally not possible. So the only thing you can do from that point is brainstorming, all right? You brainstorm, you create a solution to the problem, you bring in the UI UX factor into the problem solving, and you have a product. So that's basically UX, all right? And you really need that problem solving logical brain in order to do UX, because you can be the best designer and still not get a job. Me, I'm not the best designer. I can admit that, but I'm a really good problem solver. I can solve a problem whenever it's like the client comes, talks to me. I'll ask him so many questions, and at the end, I'll give him a solution. And that's why I have the reputation with my clients that I have right now, because I can provide them the answers that they require that they didn't even know that existed. All right. So you really need to be able to solve problems rather than be a good designer. You have to be a good designer, but you can get away with design if your solution is perfect. And in order to like create solutions, the question is, does solving a problem really require engineering knowledge? Short answer, no, it does not. Like, you can think of a solution and still create a product without engineering knowledge. But then why would you spend 4 years on something that is useless? The answer is you gain experience, right? You have in-hand experience of how a software is built or an application is built. So you have an understanding like, oh, this design form is not possible in this platform because the code is written in this way. Or that you get knowledge on things you didn't know about. I did not know what Python was. I thought Python was just like, like a software that you just like type in or drag and drop stuff and it creates code. No, it's a legit coding platform. I still don't know what Python is. And it's been 4 years of engineering. Networking, you meet a lot of people. I was glad to meet my seniors and my classmates who I have right now. They passed out, but I'm really glad that my seniors who were there never doubted me. Like, they said, like, you're good at design, stick to it. And I'm really grateful to have people like that, because a lot of time what happens is you will find people who will want good for you, but they do not want you to succeed more than them. And I'm really grateful for all of my friends, seniors, to not have that mentality, and they just wanted me to like do better. I'm really happy for that. All right. And engineering is a place like the campus where you can find people of two sides. Stick to the good side, because that's where people will genuinely like give you criticism of, hey man, like this design is not good. Like you can do better. But like they'll have a genuine concern and genuine like what do you say, care for your designs, because they want you to succeed. All right. So engineering is a place where you can like communicate with others, network with people. I still am in contact with most of the people who provide value to me. All right. It sounds a bit, wrong to say that they provide value like that, and that's why I'm staying with them. But I do provide value as well. So it's a two-way relationship. So always maintain that. Like if you come to engineering and you don't know what to do, you're still stuck with, you don't know what field you want to go to, do networking. And by networking, I don't mean like go out and like party and stuff. Like go talk to them. Ask them what is their domain that they're interested in. Ask them if you can pick their brain and ask them to explain it. Turns out that 80% of the time, that's exactly what you want to do. You just don't have the groundwork for it. And you can just ask them like, hey, like I want to start this. Can you help me with it? All right. And understanding of code, that is like the basic. You go to engineering in, I took information science. All right. And you have the common knowledge of like, oh, HTML and CSS is like, you can do front end. You can also do back end through Python. Then Java is there, JavaScript is there. You understand all those codes, and you don't need to code. Okay, you don't need to code. You understand code. You can be a better UX designer than 80% of the designers out there. Because most of the times, what people do is they just go onto YouTube, they check like, oh, I want to be a designer. I'm going to design this. They label themselves as a UX designer. I did that too. I'm not going to lie. I did that too. But once I understood how code works, that's when I made the shift to like user centric and code centric. Like I was going to design based on how the code is going to work rather than how pretty it's going to look. So whenever you design, make sure that user centric is there, code centric is there, and then you try to make the UI look pretty. Because most of the times when you're designing in service based companies, they don't really care about the UI. They just want some color to be there, but the functionality should be there. All right. So if you are planning on going into UX thinking that I'm going to design this, I'm going to design that, you probably won't, but you can keep them as like a personal projects. So that's one good thing. All right. Now, types of coding platforms. Right now in my company, I'm not familiar with all of them, but I use, wait 1 second. Yeah. So what we do is we have multiple coding platforms. Those are low code coding platforms, and we use them. All right. I use OutSystems right now. I'm working on a project that uses OutSystems, but there's so many more, and there's never an end to that knowledge. So whenever you're designing, it's better to have a little bit of groundwork about the coding platform you're going to design for. Talk to the software engineers, talk to the UX writers as to what they want exactly and which platform they'll be coding in, because that's going to save you a lot of time. All right. And for you guys to just be like, oh, I'm going to design this. They can code whatever they want. It's not going to work. You'll never get a job in that way. I don't want to scare you, but it's the truth. People are going to be like, yeah, design is fine. Just understanding UI is fine. No, in corporate job market, they require you to understand codings. And that's why you see whenever you apply for UX job roles, you always have that basic understanding of HTML and CSS. It's not that they're just typing it in. It's because they really need someone who understands how code works, so that while designing, they don't have a problem going back and forth with designers saying that, oh, this can't be done, that can't be done. All right. So moving forward, do you need to be a good designer? No, you don't need to be a good designer. You just need to have problem solving skills. All these three designs, which I did over here, are heavily UI based. All right. There's nothing UX based in this. So these designs, they look pretty, but they're not usable, because you can't really have this and be like, hey, I'm going to like use this app. Like, oh, the UX sucks. The UX sucks. I'm not going to use this. Doesn't matter how pretty it looks. All right. But on the other hand, when the UI is really pretty, you wouldn't want to use the app because the UX sucks. Okay, and Aptra, the portal, really good UI. Oh wait, sorry, really good UX. Nope, it does not have both. Anyways, moving on. So I'm going to talk about one controversial topic. It's the dark side of design industry. I do not want to point fingers. All right. So you've already obviously heard about Mang, right? Meta, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google. They're really good companies. They're product-based companies, really respectable companies. But there are always certain things about really huge companies that give me an ick, which I think you guys should know if you're going to go into the field of UX. So there are two types of companies that you can join. The one is product based and service based. Mang and all the big MNCs, most of them are product based. And I think 50% product, 50% service. I'm not sure. All right. But the thing is, with dark side of design industry is that they use principles that cause users to stick to their designs or not be able to use anything else. With Facebook, the problem was they used blue, right? And blue, so like it indicates that trust, like friendliness and all. But they had access to your personal data. And that was a huge controversy with Facebook, right? They used to have your data, like footprints and all, or where and all you have gone through in the browser. I'm not completely sure, but that's the in an art like you can go to articles in UX forum and you can read the article based on the dark side of design. Amazon, it's like one of the biggest companies having one of the worst UIs and UX. Is it's so like they wanted you to do. It's not that they're bad at design, they're really good at design. Amazon, you go to Amazon Prime, they have a really good design. Amazon Music, a really good design. But what happened to Amazon Store is because the competition is so vast, it's so competitive, the whole shopping industry or like online shopping, they wanted to create a platform where the UI is so different than normal that a lot of people are going to use this, right? So when they switch to another platform like Flipkart or Alibaba, they'd be like, what happened? Like, this Amazon's UI is a bit different, but Flipkart has a really good UI, all right. But Amazon's UI is so different, the UX is so different. People are more prone to using that because they're used to it, and they can't go back to Flipkart or Alibaba because you psychologically, rewire someone's brain using UX. So UX is like you can make someone do things and get stuck into it and not allow them to use other designs if you are smart enough to do that. All right. Apple, the thing about Apple is they're really good with products. Like the continuity of the devices are really good. Everything is really great about Apple. But if you have noticed the new notch, all right, thing is, I was in the market to buy a new phone, but I didn't want to because I was okay with the old notch. But the new notch, what they did is they're making you touch the top end, right? And you would be like, okay, wait, so I'm going to have to like go all the way up and click on this button. So what's the use of the small scrolly thing that brings everything down? So they want to rewire your muscle movement so that you touch to the top, all right? And that's going to change the mobile design industry for everybody because majority of users of phone are Apple users. Okay, they hold a very huge hierarchy in mobile sales. So one of the things is that Netflix, you just get hooked to Netflix. There's nothing else you can say. Google, Google is a really good company. There's nothing bad about Google apart from one thing. There was one lawsuit filed against them stating that they were hearing in using the Google pods. And that comes under just the customer trust stuff. So, like if you are buying a product based on trust, all right, it's because the brand Google is so vast that you would believe that it won't do anything wrong, right? I'm not sure if they did anything wrong though, but the Google Pod and the listening into your conversations, it all ties under UX. The user experience is hindered or it's manipulated by all these big brands, all right? The reason I'm saying all this is because I wanted to make a sound decision of who you want to join. Okay, because there are two sides. Always, there's always the good side and the bad side. They're not entirely bad, but they are so huge, and they need to be in the competition, so they take decisions that cause them to be in the dark side of UX. Now, you'd believe that, as I said, the engineering part, you need to know coding, right? You can get away with that also. You don't have to do engineering. Okay, you can learn about coding through YouTube, but the benefit of engineering is you can talk to people, you can meet really good people, like really sweet people who will help you come out of that fix of like, nah, I'm not going to do that, like I don't want to like do this, it doesn't make sense to me. All right, and then there are people who will push you towards the very end and be like, hey, no dude, like it's not going to work, just do this, like it's fine, like it's safer, everybody's doing this. And you have this choice between doing it and not doing it. In the same way, you have a choice in UX. If you want to be the good UX designer and help people, or you want to be the dark UX designer and make decisions that will cause psychological changes in people's behavior, and you will want them to use their designs. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been on both sides. Okay, the dark UX pays really well, but the good side of UX, there's a sense of pride in your designs. Okay, and that's all I wanted to say in this talk. So if you have any questions, you can ask right now. So yeah. Devesh, if they are texting in the YouTube page, right? Could you like let me know what the question is?
Yeah, I guess in the live stream there are not any questions till now.
No questions.
Like
Or
guys, if you are there, like if you have any questions, please post it in a live stream. We'll speak it out.
yes, yes, if you guys also have some questions which you can ask on behalf of them, or you have own questions regarding UX, you can ask as well. Okay.
Yeah, one question from Srajan, like he is also in design team. He told like UI UX is good, but how to manage it with coding? Like what is happening right now? Like they do all the UI listing posters and all, right?
Yeah.
Many people face difficulty in like managing with technical. Or you like as you told, like Swastik introduced you to coding and all. So like it was a for you it was good, but here the problem is they are like either some of them don't know and don't have any coding background, or like they don't get time. They are thinking like whether they should fully dedicate into design or they should go into technical field, whether there is availability or not.
Okay.
So anything you may like tell regarding that?
Okay. So I can't give them an answer based on like if they should stick to it or no. If you really like design and you really believe that you can provide something in the market by your designs, then with all means go ahead, go right for it. Okay. But if you don't have any coding experiences and you're still in design, I highly recommend you to learn coding, at least the basics of it. Because what happens is that I was lucky enough to have a background where I did a lot of jobs in design. And the company which I joined, like they looked into that and said like, oh, you have design understanding and you are good at time management, because I did all of those things in engineering, right? So if you have just like the basic knowledge of code, basically you can just go to YouTube and just or else, you know what, there is a YouTuber developed by Ed. He's a front-end designer, and he's really good with explaining about UI and UX. All right, so I'm gonna put it in the Gmeet over here. Just check him out, check his YouTube page, because for me, coding I learned from his channel. I bought his course and I think I did 4 of the courses, but it took me a longer time because I was late to the whole thing. Now, if you're in college right now, you have the liberty to go and ask people who are good at coding. Devesh, you're really good at coding. You can help them out. Okay. The thing is, you understand coding, right? So once you understand coding, continue UX. If you don't understand coding and you still want to go into UX, I highly recommend you to go into. One second, something happened. Hello, am I still audible? Yeah.
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah. Okay. So I highly recommend you to try the field of micro animations. It's not more spoken upon, but micro animations are one field that ties UI and UX without code, because you can just design something and make it into a GIF, or you can design something and you can convert that into a code. All right. So that is like a small instance, right? So you can, if you don't want to learn coding, if you don't find it like you can't understand coding, it's completely fine. I spoke in the terms of UX based on creating a whole software platform design for the developers. But if you want to get into UX, you do not know how to code. There are multiple things. I'm a UX generalist. There's also UX specialists. So UX specialists are UX writers. You have UX researchers. You have UX testers. You can go into any field. Just Google types of UX roles and you'll get the whole idea. What I am a generalist is that I have tied up all the, what do you say, roles and combined into one. So that's UX generalist. But UX specialist is someone who is specialized into one particular domain. So if you are good with UX, like designing part, but you don't know coding, try UX writing or UX research, because I think you'll like those things. Because in UX research, you go about either talking to people or creating wireframes and explaining to people like, okay, this. Would you prefer to use this over this? All right. So there are multiple fields in UX you can apply for. Just have a look at it, because I understand like if you don't understand coding, okay, but UX coding is just for the whole package. But if you don't want coding, there are a lot of other things you can do with UX. So that's what I want to say for that question. So any other question? Harin, you can ask a question too.
Yeah, there is a question in the chat. Just Modo is his YouTube name. He asked, "What are your thoughts on UI being completely automated using AI tools and us not needing to actual code CSS or HTML?" Yeah, that's a really nice question.
Okay. So one thing you need to understand is, give me 1 second. Okay, no, sorry. So one thing to understand with AI is that it builds on the data which you provide, right? That's much how I understand how UI works. So when you try and design through AI, one of the things that happens is that just give me 1 second. Okay, sorry. One other thing that happens is that you will have a dilemma where you will try to lean towards AI for everything, right? But UX is a field where you don't have that liberty, because the behavior of humans keep changing based on time, and UI part is, to be honest, UI never really changes. Google still uses the same type of UI. So whenever you try to say that like AI will like replace UI designers, it won't, honestly, because you always need a UI designer. Okay, the job may change. Instead of UI designer, you can be like an UI animator, or like just front end designer. But you will never have a place where AI is going to take over your job. It's never going to happen. Until now, it hasn't happened. I can't guarantee the future, but for a good 2-3 years, you're still safe. The UI designers, UX, there's nothing AI can do. AI can't it's based on like the like data you provide, right? So there's no way it can understand human changes as fast as us human beings, and we have an eye for design, right? So yeah, that's my answer to that. I'm not sure if I answered it correctly or no, but that's how I understand it.
Just more to, like whether it solves like resolves your question. Like if you have anything, just put it in the chat again. I will read it out. Then again, we have another question from one and only Fawara. What about content writing? How viable it is in this field? And he has another question. Will Figma to code take developers' job away?
Okay. For the first question, I'd say that content writing is really important. I worked as a copywriter. So copywriter is someone who just like writes copy. It's not copying something, but like writing literature for like brands and emails. So I'm really good with the copywriting part. So I can say that with UI and UX, you really require understanding how to write content, because sometimes what happens is that you will be given a product or a project and they'll be like, hey, like I want this, can you do this for me? But they'll not provide you with content, right? And sometimes what happens is we just use lorem ipsum, and the clients are like, no, it doesn't look good, because what they want to convey, the product they have, is not portrayed with your design. And it's not because of the design, it's just because of the content in it. So I'd say that yeah, content is really important with UX designing. In terms of if it's a product like e-commerce brand or any brand that comes to you and says that I need this product, but they don't provide it content, then you require the literature for that content. Apart from that, I don't really think content is required, as long as the developers understand that, oh, okay, it's lorem ipsum over here, we need to ask the clients for the content what they have to add over here. And the other thing what you asked about Figma taking over developers' jobs, it won't, because the thing is, with Figma or any other platform like Webflow, yeah, those website builders, problem is it's drag and drop in Webflow. It's still like you need to understand HTML and CSS, but you will have a problem of subscription. It's never going to be free, because they need to generate code as the moment you're trying to build it, like within designing it, it has to generate code, and your code needs to be in auto layout or in constraints, like it has to have like spacing, padding. So even if Figma takes over the jobs of coding people, like the developers, which it will never do that, the max to max what will happen is the developers already have the knowledge about padding, the front end part and all. So you can just use Figma instead of coding. So front end kill, you can just use Figma. It's not a big deal, honestly, because I really don't think Figma code is reliable. Like if you use Figma code in your code, like in your code, it's not gonna like function properly. And backend though, never. You can never have Figma or any other platform just easily just design and create a backend for it. That's not gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah, we have another question here from Harun. How to take a U-turn?
How to take a U-turn? Sure. So I'll skip that question, because that's not based on UX. So, oh no, it is. The turn sign wasn't there on the road, so I didn't take a U-turn. So if anybody's wondering what am I talking about, so we were almost about to hit the curve of the road, me and Harun. I blame the UX of the road, the civil engineers. So yeah, bad design. Any other questions apart from road accidents, Harun? Devesh, if you have any questions also, you can ask, all right?
okay, I have one question. Okay,
Sure, sure.
I am front end developer. Like I can develop things, but I don't know how to learn UI UX. Like anything you can tell in a beginner point of view. Like if I
Okay.
want to learn it, like how to build a good website which is good in UI, but more importantly UX.
Okay. Um, for UI, I think like front end development only you understand like how it should be, the spacing, REM and all. The UX part, I would suggest you to read books. There are multiple books based. There's few books which provide a really good understanding of what the spacing should be like, what the content pixel size should be like, and all those things. It makes you understand how design should appear to be. Okay, so you can refer books rather than YouTube videos, because YouTube videos, there are a lot of YouTube videos which share the same knowledge but in a different way. So you will spend more time trying to figure out, oh wait, this video was better than that video, but it's had the same meaning. So what does it imply? Like, do I like refer to this guy for my future studies, or like should I refer to this person? I personally had the same problem and I stuck to books. Books are a really good example in terms of UX, because you read it, you understand it in own terms and own sense, and you create like a reality where like like okay, a person would use the 8 pixel rule or the 8 point rule while designing products, such that it's easier for the developer to understand as well, because when you design, you always know that while developing, they will double the size of the font, right? So based on that, you can just design it perfectly. Or when you know that, you can just go and talk to the developers and be like, hey, like this isn't this. I wanted it this. So could you, while coding, just make the size this, so that the actual size matches the design size. All right. And if you really want to get into UX, books are a really good option. The other option is talking to another UX designer. You can use mentors. And if you don't have a mentor, I would suggest you to choose product designers as your mentors, because they don't stick just to the software like the designs, they also go into like physical products. So you'll have a good understanding of how a product should actually be like, and you can like get that knowledge into a normal design, like your wireframe, like a website and all those things. So books are a good option. I would say you read books. Videos are good, but only if you can find one person. If you want to like stick to one, I would suggest Ansh Mehra. He's a really good UX designer. Again, he's not the best UI designer. He's a really good UX designer. UI, you can do anything. You can just copy it from Behance also. It doesn't really matter. But UX should be really important if you're like shifting a field, or like if you're trying for like UX role. So yeah. I hope I answered your question. Like, if you have any other doubts regarding the same thing, I can answer.
Yeah, so like I have to connect to a UX designer. I guess I know a UX designer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'll actually help out though, because it's not that easy to get into the field. So I know a person who started after me and got a job like way before me. I was really happy for the person, but also had like doubts, like why am I not getting? But I never asked that person. I was like, hey, like could you explain how? At the last moment, like a few weeks before getting this Novigo job, I asked her, and she was like, yeah, you do this, you do that. And then I had an understanding, like, oh, I could have just done that. And it's really important to go and talk to people who are in the field you want to join, rather than people who are in a position that is higher than you and don't know anything about the field.
Yeah, I will do that. And I guess DMing in LinkedIn also works sometimes, right?
Yeah, oh, dude, for sure. The amount of people who have DM'd me once I've put the senior UX designer, it's off. But they have like genuinely like really good questions. They ask like really good questions. It's not like, hey, bro, can you like refer me to the job? It's like, bro, like this. Could you check my design? Or like, could you like refer me a good like design asset pack so that you use in your designs? So it's one of those things. There's really good interactions with people on LinkedIn.
Yes, I will do those. Thank you. Yeah, anyone questions in the chat? Harun has some questions. Should I tell that?
Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, I
Okay.
still have half an hour, so
What was inside the bag?
I'll skip that question.
Okay, Harun, you are skipped. Any other questions? Here in the team, anyone has any questions?
Oh, Devesh, is it fine if no one has any questions? You just drop the call. It's not 12:30 though. Is that okay though?
Yeah, it is fine, I guess.
Okay, okay. I'll just wait for 15, like 10, 15 more minutes.
Yeah, you got two more questions. You got
Perfect.
first by Sheikh Ryan Ahmad. How is life at Novigo?
So honestly, it's not different than college life. I was glad to find that my team was not the typical corporate team. Like normally, what happens in corporate is actually scary. People try to one up you. They want to be better than you, so they try to bring you down. I'm really glad to have people who are like me, who have the like-mindedness as me, and who are really sweet. My manager is the sweetest person, dude. I'm just so grateful to that guy. He was so sweet, and we always talk about books, me and my manager. So I feel like Novigo is a really good space for you to like come and do your job. Like honestly, the people are so nice. They have a really good team. The CEOs and founders are like really sweet, and there are really good opportunities also every year. Like they have like so many celebrations going on, and you get a lot out of the people because the people who join there are not directly from college, right? Like sometimes there are, but most of them are like experienced people, and you get to know so many amazing stories of people. There's a guy who did IPS and now is a developer, and his story is like so beautiful. There's a guy who did. I have a friend who is a YouTube content creator, a musician, and a developer who turned into a designer, and is a really good designer, like a really good designer. And it's nice to be around people like that because whenever you have doubts, just go ahead and ask them like, hey, I have a doubt, like could you like explain this, or like could you see this design and see like, okay, is it really good or no? Most of the times people are like, oh, why dude, I'm busy right now, that this. No, these are really sweet people. This is my department, right? And then I have like other departments in the development place. I have to work alongside with developers, right, as a UX designer. They are so sweet, dude, so sweet there. I feel like after like people who have experience, most of the time they're like a bit of a pain in the back. But these are really nice people. So knowing is a really good place to work. I would highly recommend you, like if you want to do job for like a good period of time and you're like confused between where to choose, what to choose, I would suggest Novigo. Yeah, there was another question you said, right, Divesh?
Yeah, there is another question by Just Modo. What's your go-to UI framework?
What's your?
Go-to UI framework.
What's my go-to UI framework? Like, is he asking me what is my go-to method of how I design, or UI framework? I design based on the requirements which are given, right? So I don't really have like a framework. But if I have to design personally, what I do is I just go into Behance, I check for designs, I check for the content, how it's laid out. I would first see what are my requirements for the product, then I'll see what are the requirements offered by the design, try to implement the two into one, and then just build on that. It's more like a feel kind of thing, like it just looks nice, I'll make it. The personal projects, I don't really that much go into the UX part because UX skill I have a different set of projects which are like commissioned ones. I can't show them here, but UI projects and all, like it's just based on how you feel like the app should look like. Behance also, most of the projects are like UI based. You can't really use them in UX. So I tend, there's a platform, Mobbin. they are like screenshots and like frameworks of designs which are used in applications that are really good, the UX based stuff. But they have a subscription fee of $8. It is a lot considering if you're not going to use it all the time. But if you are going to use it on a daily basis, $8 is a good price to pay for that. So my framework is just that. I just like look at something. If it looks nice, I design it. It's not that complicated.
Okay, another question from Harun. You can see that coming. Who is your go-to person?
For like design,
That only Harun knows.
I'm going to consider this a design base. My go-to person, it keeps changing, but right now it is Ansh Mehra, because he not only is into just UX part, he's also in the AI business as well. So a lot of the information that he provides and a lot of the content that he creates are really good. Like he understands the value of design in a way that I did not in the beginning. He states that the average salary, how it should look like, how what is the value you should provide a company, how you should talk to the manager when you're trying to make a point. So I look up to him at the moment in design. And I feel like a lot of designers who are starting in India should actually look into Ansh Mehra. The man is really good. He is a gem of a person, very kind he is, and he has a lot of information to add to the plate. Oh, Harun is like not design wise. Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, skip the question, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So another one from Sheikh Ryan Ahmad. How did you think about starting Instagram page, and what kept you going to make more and more posts?
For me, it was more like if you have heard the phrase from Will Smith, the brick by brick thing. So I wanted to build something that was mine to be called. And the thing is, like, I chose Instagram because that was the easiest way to access my designs again. Because if something happens to my hard drive, I can always look up into like Instagram. But Instagram, on the other hand, there are a lot of content creators, and everybody's like switching to Instagram. Right? I'm not a social person. Like, I don't like to be on social media a lot. But I have to because my job requires me to know the latest trends, and it's just like it's like a tug and push thing for me because Instagram, I have stopped posting the illustrations with the UX part. Also, I think I've stopped, but I've kept the page just so I can like refer to the designs. But if you really want to get good at your Instagram game with design, I feel like you need to like do it consistently because consistency is key. You can be really good at design and still be a shitty designer, but if you're consistent with your work, you'll know exactly how to take shortcuts here and there, like how to do this work faster. So I feel like if you want to get good at Instagram, I'm not the best person to ask, but if you want to get good at just getting good at the work you want to do, consistency is one of the key aspects of getting good at anything because they say that you require 100 hours a year, not 100 hours a year, I think something like that, to get better. It's only 10,000 hours. In order to get the 10,000 hours, you need to be consistent with what you do, right? So I feel like consistency is key. And Instagram, no, I just don't like to be on social that much. I would not suggest you to do that. It's just me. I just don't want to be addicted to social media because knowing the UX, how it is made, knowing how the algorithm is built, it's built to keep you on the device. It's not a bad thing, kind of is, but you get the idea. Like once it hits you, like, oh, what am I doing with my time? you then understand like, oh, if I'm going to use this platform, it's a really good platform. If I want to use it wisely. Like Google thinks about what you want to Google, and the app is going to showcase all the things that are based on that. So if you are building anything on Instagram, say even you're designing, try to Google designers only on Instagram, such that the curated list for you is just design and nothing else. Because what happens is that Instagram tries to deviate you from whatever you want to see. Just like not get deviated. It's hard because the way it's programmed, it's a bit different, and even that is a dark practice in UX for them to do that. But it is business, so you can't really blame them. So yeah, that's my answer to that question. I'm not sure if I gave you the right answer, but yeah, as much as it's in like my hands, I would suggest not to use Instagram that much.
Yeah, another one for Ryan. How do you understand or rate the quality of design you produce?
Oh, there are multiple ways. First things first is like you need to check the color accuracy. Okay, so I would suggest highly get an external monitor if your laptop isn't capable of giving you sRGB 99% or more. Because what happens is, first thing is you may see a different color in your laptop. The monitor will have a different color. So I would suggest get a really good monitor. Not expensive. I'm gonna sound like a brat. 20K is a good price for a good monitor. Below that, I have not seen any monitor that would provide you with like sRGB 100%. And other things, there are softwares which will check if disabled people can look at the design or no, or like visually impaired people. Because sometimes what happens is like colorblind people, they can't really see the designs clearly because some colors are like a bit off for them. So you need to design based on that. And there's also this AI tool that checks the clickability of the design. I feel like AI you can use to aid the design rather than just letting it design the whole thing. So make sure that the design what you're creating is legible to like read everything. It should go from left to right. If it is if it's a service kind of thing like e-commerce, also the rule of thumb is from left to right. It should be in that order, and it should have like principles. So if you want to learn principles of UX designing, there's just type UX principles, and there's a website just dedicated to UX principles. And other thing you can do is just see how the flow is. If the flow is going perfectly, like okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, then it's perfect. But if you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, it's not a good design. And plus, you get a general understanding when you use the design. Like once you design something, give it to someone, all right, who doesn't know anything about design, and be like, okay, this is this and this. Can you use this software and take a note of whatever they're saying and tell them to be vocal about it. They'll be like, hey bro, this button is too big, bro, I don't like it. He may not understand why you did the button big, but he is the general public, right? Like he knows that he doesn't want it that big. You may have a different understanding of design, so you'll have to ask him like why the button, like why do you feel. If he has a genuine reason, then you can take note of that and redesign it. Okay, because art is subjective, right? Even design is subjective. Only the UX part is like based on you and your understanding. The only thing that is subjective will be UI. All right, because a lot of people will like something, the other person will not like it. Okay, a lot of people like Pinterest. I do not like Pinterest because the UX sucks. A lot of people don't like as there can be many apps actually. So if you want to get like if you want to check how a design is good, a good example is Spotify as an app, as a website application, and as a website like desktop website. Now wait, the desktop application, mobile application, and just the website is the continuity is maintained. So if you're designing for multiple screens, I feel like that should be a rule of thumb, that it looks similar in every place. Even in the car, when you put in Spotify, it looks like Spotify. So even if you remove the logo and you look at it, you feel like, "Ah, that's Spotify." You can't do that with Apple Music. Apple Music, you just remove the icon, you can't make out it's Apple Music. None of them are going to. So a good rule of thumb is continuity, readability, and the flow of design. If it is like perfectly in flow. So, any other questions?
Yeah, Ryan has two more questions.
Sure,
First
no
one,
problem.
what displays do you prefer?
Mm-hmm.
Second one, no, this is by Heba, not Ryan, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What did you think of when you started to divert towards making UI as your main objective of work?
Okay. The display thing is still there or what? I'm gonna answer that regardless. First, I'll answer Hebas. So when I started UI, my mindset was I'm gonna build some things that other people are gonna enjoy using. Even still now, my main objective is to just provide, satisfaction in technical terms to my users. So the way I design is mostly user centric, and I want to maintain a good faith in my users or my clients. And I feel like that's what everyone should strive to. Like, you design something and imagine you use the dark UIs, it's going to eat you up alive, like doesn't matter. Like I've done dark UI, I didn't like it, but the rewards are good. Like materialistic rewards are really good. But if you try and just be on the good side of UI and you see all the things that you can provide to the general public and you see that people are like benefited by your product or your application, you'll have a sense of pride in your work, and that pride is going to let you push forward whenever you have hardship and do the work, like sit just put your head down and work way more than what materialistic gains are going to get you. So I'd say that just see, like experiment and see, because I can't be the good angel right now and just tell you like, oh no, don't do dark UI, UX design principles and all. Try it out, because I don't know. It's subjective to what is your goal. Because if you want to stay in the competition, if you're in a big product-based company like Apple or Google, you need to do some changes in the UX principles. You need to bend the rules and make it dark UX, just so that you are the competition. You have set the bar at a certain place. But if exactly, it depends on domain. So yeah, if you want to like see the other side, it's not that bad. Like honestly, it's not that bad, but your conscience is not going to let you sit well with it, if you know what I mean. And in my head is just that I want to build something for the other person that they find useful to use, or like they find it easy to use, because I want everyone to have an experience that they would share with others, because that's what I genuinely want, right? As designers, like people like appreciate your work. So that's it actually. There's nothing more to it. Like it's not materialistic gains. It's just that I want people to like genuinely like my designs. Yeah, that's about it. It pays well. That's a different thing, but still, yeah. Or the display question, I would suggest you purchase based on your other requirements also. Because if you're just doing design, there's nothing else you're going to do. You have really good displays from LG. LG has a really good display. I forgot the name. Ultra Gear, no, Ultra Gear is the top end one. There's another display, but if you can get away with just sRGB 100% displays, doesn't matter what size you take. I would prefer 24 inches rather than what do you say? Sorry, 27-inch rather than the 24-inch. Yeah, so 24-inch is like very concise. So if you buy a QHD monitor, it's going to be too, like pixels are going to be like compressed. Oh yeah, please do buy a QHD monitor instead of an FHD. QHD is 2K resolutions, 1440 pixels, and FHD is just 1080 pixels. 1080 if you're buying, just buy a 24-inch. But if you're buying a QHD monitor, I would suggest you take a 27-inch monitor and just have the sRGB to 100% or a 99%. But if you are into like games and like you require like other stuff, I would prefer you take a 144 hertz monitor from LG Ultra Gear. That is like sRGB 100%, and it has a really good color accuracy. Plus, it's 27-inch and QHD, and it has NVIDIA G-Sync. So any gamers out there, and plus who wants to design, it's a really good option for them. So yeah, display wise, I would suggest that. But if you have a really crazy budget, BenQ's artist monitors or BenQ Pro Art really good monitors. You can get that monitor and just get a really like black computer and like make it look really pretty. It's a beautiful monitor. I would suggest if you're in the budget for within like 40-50K BenQ, 20-30K, just take the LG Ultra Gear, and 5 to 10K there's another LG monitor which you get. Just buy that, or there is another monitor for 15K by Acer. That is also 100% sRGB, but it is FHD. So I would suggest those monitors if you're starting out. Any other questions?
Yeah, if you have any questions, please drop it in the chat. The viewers.
Oh, Harun has a question. He wants the monitor to be 244 hertz.
Oh. Okay, you are getting personal question then in DMs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Any questions here in the team? Okay, one question we have from Srujal is our content lead. So, like, anything you would like to tell to the juniors who are currently in SOSC?
Okay. I would say that as much time as you have, build something. It doesn't have to be developing domain, or it doesn't have to be design domain. It can be anything. Just build something, because the interactions you have over there will give you an understanding of how humans work and how you need to like cater to their needs. I'm saying this based on just general experience. Okay, it's not for design. I'd say that as much as you can, just be in the moment, because it's gonna go away fast. Okay, and you will not have the time to just sit back and be like, okay, this happened and I'm glad it happened. No, everything is gonna move really fast. You won't have time to like digest what has happened. People are gonna come, people are gonna go. So as much as you can, cherish everybody, because I don't know, man. Like you have this opportunity to like build something as a group right now. It's a community, right? You can do so much change in the community. Right now it's like almost towards the end, right? But still, like try to build something, stick to it, and just do the groundwork, as Swastik had told me once. Just don't stop. Just be consistent with your work. Don't let anybody try and tell you that no, you can't do that, like this and that. Just have fun. Just have fun, that's it. Yeah, don't get backlogs. That one thing. The name of SOS shouldn't be tainted. Just don't get backlogs.
Yes, I guess no one has backlogs here in the team right now.
Perfect.
Backlog, eh? Yeah, he cleared.
Damn, nice.
Didn't have a backlog, never.
Oh, okay. Revaluation.
Electronics.
Yeah, he's electronics department, by the way. Srujal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him.
Okay, so another question from Ryan. What kind of skill do you think is one of the top in a particular domain which will help us in the future other than AI?
Negotiation and influence. You need to know when and how to negotiate, because it's a give and take in any situation. You understand how a person reacts to whatever you're going to say. You'll be able to like get away from it. So this human understanding, basic human understanding, if you have, it's not technical based, just like read books on it. So once you have a basic understanding of how things like work for humans, you can get away with things. And this is based on UX, because UX utilizes psychology. So I'm going to say that like you just understand how people work. That is a really good skill to have. Negotiation and psychological skills. Just understand how people work. Because no matter how good a person is in coding, if there's no other person to like try and like tell him like, hey, you can do this, you can do that, he's never gonna sit and be like, yeah, I can code this. AI is good. I know you asked about AI based on tools like that, like skills to have, but I feel like better than having technical skills, it's better to have people skills in any domain. You understand people, you can make your work easier for you. In turn, you can be a better employee and have more value to the company. You will be more appreciated that way.
And again, he asked, like, any specific books you would recommend for it?
Oh yeah, sure. One second. I have books on my Telegram, which I think I can suggest you. So there's a book called Ducking Designer's Guide to UI. I'll just type it down for you guys. All right, just Google it. If you can find the books for paid, and if you want to pay for it, well and good. If you can't, then other means how to download. So I'm not going to go into that. So I'll just send you a few things for design. All right. I'll put it in this chat over here. You can just put it up in YouTube. Okay. One is atomic design. They lets you know exactly how designs are supposed to be designed. Like when you're designing something, you need to go from the basic atomic level to the whole wireframe, right? And then you have this one.
One question from Harun.
Okay.
Which laptop are you using right now?
I'm using a Lenovo Idea. What's it? Lenovo Idea Flex 5. The specifications are custom, like I had asked them to add extra stuff, but it's a Lenovo laptop. The reason I bought it was because I could like draw on it because it's a touchscreen. So yeah, that. Okay, so if you want to choose just one book, there's a book called Articulating Design Decisions. It's for people who are going to like join UX field. It's more like how your designs are not going to be valued the same as how you think, and they'll ask for changes, and how you shouldn't be bothered by it. So that's a really good start to have in books, because a lot of times you design something and they're like, no, can you change this, can you change that? You as a designer know exactly why you made the change and why it's supposed to be that way. But for you to for you to stand your ground and be like, yeah, fine, I'll change that, and still have a say that, oh, I'm a good designer regardless of what changes I've made. The book really explains you how to do that. Okay, because I remember I had designed something for I think Karnataka government, or like someone who wanted something for Karnataka government. I did a really good UI for that. At the end, he's like, hey bro, can you turn everything into yellow and red? Because that's the color, right? If I'm not wrong. Yeah, that's the color, yeah. So he made me change everything into yellow and red. The website is still up, I guess. I'm not sure, but it looks very not nice. So yeah, just read those books which I've mentioned over there right now: Atomic Design, Ducking Designer's Guide to UI, and Articulating Design Decisions. I think you'll find most of the designs on Gumroad. Yeah, I think I've purchased it from Gumroad, I guess. Just check it out. I think you'll really like it.
Yeah, guys, any more questions? Or in the chat, it is empty.
It's empty. All right.
Yeah, I guess any questions they asked. Like a last call for the questions.
Yeah, I'll just answer one last question and then I'll take my leave, okay?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I guess there are no more questions in the chat.
Okay. So I'll ask one question. I don't need an answer because I don't think it's a general question, right? I'll ask the question and then I'll just take my leave. All right? Is that okay? Is that fine?
Yeah, sure.
Good.
Yeah.
So after the whole presentation, okay, I'm hoping you got something out of it, like apart from design and how engineering, your coding, and your design can be linked together. It's a simple concept, like you just use the idea of coding into design. Okay, so you really do require coding knowledge. Now, after you got to know all that and the fact that you understood what dark UX is and you understood the two categories in design, all right? So there's always a dark side and a light side. And now you know that you can choose which one you want to choose based on your priorities. My only question is, what side would you choose?
Hello, Adip. Yeah, I guess that was a really good exit. Yeah. Yeah, so Adip will answer this question. Surely, I will DM you that question. Oh, I would choose Adip by Mohammad Harun. Yeah, that exit was really good. He vanished in thin air. We were here wondering where is he. Okay, so thank you everyone for tuning in for this session for UX and engineering. So next session is by Swastik Shetty. It's at 2 o'clock, and he will be talking about like placements. You can ask him anything about placement. So yeah, he will be more than happy to answer your queries and your doubts. So yeah, thank you very much. So we'll go for lunch now. The link will be the same. You can join back here at 2 p.m. So yeah, thank you and bye bye.